Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Carbs has actually just caught me doing that intro without the show actually recording, and it was rather funny to see him there in his 9-Man Morris t-shirt doing like a little game of charades, like doing all these movements like, what, is it a film? Is it 6 words or what? But he was actually trying to tell me, are we recording? Well, we are recording, and we're here for episode 4. Welcome back, Carbs. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I just want to say how much of a surreal experience that was. Then, like, you're recording, and I'm not seeing the numbers flick up, and then you continue, and I'm like, if we're recording, I don't want to ruin it, but I also want to let him know that I don't think we're recording. So I'm there, like, what do I do? Like, waving my finger in like a circular motion and stuff, like what we're doing, and we're like miming. Yeah, that.
It was that. Well, you got my attention, that's for sure. And I'm sort of glad that you did, because can you imagine? I'd have done an entire intro, and then I'd have handed it over to you, and then you'd have probably said, we've not been recording. So I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, you kind of just like, you kind of just like stopped and like, what's up? Like, and I'm like, are we actually recording? And then you're like, oh, yeah, okay, we're not, yeah. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm fine. I have been to Luton now.
Yes,
that was last Saturday.
This was a question. We got asked a question on our Spotify. Someone actually typed out letters and wrote us a question. I want to give Kira McDonough a shout out, but I think it's someone else's account, and I think the comment is from Matt. But the comment is, great episode. Looking forward to hearing about Carbs' escapades in Luton. So, Carbs, you have the floor. How was Luton?
Yeah, all round very, very memorable day. Not just saying that for the result, but, you know, I was getting people messaging me on the coach there saying, oh, you must be mad going down. The form's been terrible. You know, we've only got like 2 points in 8 games. People were saying that we haven't won a match yet under this new manager. We're going away to Luton. There's some stat I heard from fans around the ground saying we'd never won a league game at Kenilworth Road as well. So there's that stat thrown in there as well. But, you know, I wasn't there for the result. Obviously, the result is ultimately what you come away with, but I wasn't there for the result. I was there to visit that ground before they knock it down. And I tell you what, I would go back again, but I'm probably not going to be able to go back again unless I go as a neutral. And I'm so glad I went. I'm so glad you get there, and then like you're walking in between 2 terraced houses, and you go through, and then like the turnstile is so old fashioned, and then like, it's just all old fashioned. You get in there, and then you're walking in between 2 gardens. You go up, you know, you go up the steps, and you come back round, and like before you go into the back of the away end, like there was literally someone doing work in the garden as we were doing it, and because it's such a normal occurrence for fans to go up there, they didn't even look at them. It was just so normal, like people looking over into the garden while they're doing what they're doing. Like, it's crazy. Like I've never seen anything like that. Never seen anything like that. And, I think it's a shame that it's going, but it is a sign of the times, like where football grounds are these days. And I get it. I get it, but it's such a shame that, like, it's not even, I don't even want to say it's the last of a dying breed. It is the last of a dead breed of grounds. You know, it's like the whole Tyson Fury impression that I did in that episode, wasn't there? You know, I'm not, you know, I don't need to do it again. I've done it before. But yeah, you know, the sun was beating. You know, we're in the safe standing as well. Like, if you were sat down, you probably didn't have any leg room anyway. But there was a safe standing. You know, when Rovers got the goal in the beginning of the second half, you know, the whole away end was in raptures. Sang our way to victory as well. I mean, there was the red card as well that added to the drama, and then there was like 8 minutes of stoppage time added on, which then ended up being 11 minutes. And then, yeah, it was very, very memorable. And also as well, I will add, that was my first time in 5 years that I've attended an away match and seen Blackburn Rovers win a game. So the 5-year curse is now broken. Someone at work said to me as well this week, oh, you know, if you're going to Luton and we're getting a win, you need to go to all the games. And I said to him, do you realise how long it's been since I've been to a game where we've won? You don't want me going to all the away games, mate. Trust me. I mean, I'm not superstitious anyway, but I had to just throw that in there. So, yeah, do you have anything to ask at all about it? You all right?
Well, I'm interested in Luton in general. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a bit, I'm not going to lie, it's a bit of a Blackburn Rovers snooze fest, if I'm being completely honest. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like, I'm happy they won and all that jazz. But I'm more interested in, how was Luton? yeah, we've heard a lot about this ground and how there's people's gardens. I mean, it's like you've never been to Accrington Stanley. I mean, Accrington Stanley's of a similar ilk. You know what I mean? It's like people can have a right good shufty at what's going on at Stanley,
Yeah, it's true.
through their bedroom windows. But no, what was Luton like? I've never been to Luton.
The thing is, I didn't actually see much of Luton itself because the coach just drops you off outside the ground and then you go in and then you come out the ground and get back on the coach again. So there's not a lot of exploring the town itself that I've seen, barring what I went past on the coach. And generally, it just feels like your generic English town. So
okay,
yeah.
Do you have a Brendan at front at bus giving you coach trip, doing tour and that? You know
None
what I
of
mean?
that, no.
Sites. Listen, this is M6. This is M42. Look, we're
Yeah.
in Luton now. Look,
Yeah.
there's Harry Potter World. Way. No, none of that.
None of that, no, unfortunately. Not on this occasion, no.
Okay. No, well, I'm glad you had a good time. And obviously, you had your 5-year streak that you've broken and a bit of history because they've never won at Kenilworth Road. So they've done that now. So, you know what I mean? It seems like you've collected a lot of stamps on that day. Feedback and stats on the show, now that we've addressed our comment. I hope you're happy with that answer, Matt. I hope Corbs has satisfied the question. I'm sure he has. But it's good that people are engaging. We've been asking for it. We've been giving it those passionate Delia Smith cries of, "Who are you? Let's be having you. Where are you?" And the people have responded. We're on 54 listeners now. 54 listeners. Honestly, it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Give it 46 more and we'll hit the big 100. 100 listeners. What am I going to do? I might have a star on, in Hollywood. 100 listeners, eh? Blimey. Could retire on that. So it's a big thank you to everyone who has been listening to the show. Feedback's been pretty good. To be honest, people are liking the content. There's all different types of feedback to take on board, and I love it. I love data. You know me. I'm a numbers man.
Feedback fiend, as you once called it.
Feedback fiend, quantitative, qualitative. I love it. And it's a mixture of both, really. So people are liking the content overall. Some people might be liking only certain pockets of that content. That's fair enough. Length of the show has been discussed. Like we're missing out on certain things. And I get that because, in an ideal world, we'd cover it all. But I think that we will. Anything that we miss, we love this feedback because it's giving us ideas for what we can talk about in future episodes or future seasons. Because today is the big announcement that we're going to do seasons. So just like a good old championship manager campaign or like the weather, we're going to do seasons. So this is season 1, naturally. And this is currently episode 4. And I think 10 episodes a season makes sense. It's a nice number to sort of cut that off. And then we'll be into season 2, would you believe? So yeah, length of the content, that's something we can go away and think about. There's some people who are happy with it, some people who'd like it a little bit longer. To be fair, we love all the feedback. I think for now we're going to stick to how it is. The structure's good. The feedback's been pretty good. The listens are going up. So yeah, that's some more of the feedback we've been getting. What about you, Corbs? What have you collected?
Well, I was just wondering, with regards to what you just said then, like, are you kind of thinking with the mindset of, like, if it ain't broken, don't fix it? Like, in terms of the length? Because, like, we're doing all right, we're getting listeners, and that feels like a good length, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not. There's a structure to the way that we're doing things at the moment, and you know what I mean. We haven't got the luxuries of things like producers and all this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? It's produced by yours truly.
Not quite Joe Rogan yet, is it?
No, not really. You know what I mean? I've not got an LED thing behind my head, and we're not doing video podcasting.
Yeah.
But maybe for the future, we've all got to start somewhere.
One thing I will say though is that I've had people asking me in person about like the platforms they watch it on. Someone said to me, Spotify seems like the main platform. It's like the number one, the driving force. But he doesn't actually have a Spotify account, and it's like, yeah, well, that's what YouTube's for. Anyone can access YouTube. And I said, just leave a comment. And it's like, I don't know about that. So, and I had to explain to him, trust me, You leave a comment on YouTube, it will get seen. Yeah, okay, it's not, everyone's got their own preference. You might get more on Spotify, you might get less on YouTube. I don't know the analytics of it. But regardless of how many people have listened to on YouTube, if you leave your comment on there, if that's your platform of choice, if you leave your comment on there, it will get read.
Yeah, we'll read them all out. If you leave it on Spotify, if you leave it on YouTube, you can find us, I think, at Salad and Carbs. Just type in Salad and Carbs podcast and we'll come up.
It's literally the first result when you type it in on YouTube.
Yeah. It's the same on Spotify as well. Keep those bits of feedback coming in, please. We love it. We're so grateful that you're with us and listening. We are really enjoying it. In the last episode, we were doing TV and we were doing TV adverts, and Carbs actually set me some homework. And I'm not a letdown like Carbs, who didn't do his homework when it came to Richmond sausages.
It was a good guess, though, weren't it? Come on.
I tell you what, it weren't a bad guess. But to be fair, I've had a little bit longer to do my homework. I've got on my notes here, Munster's advert. What the fuck is that? What on earth was that advert?
How many did you watch? There were 3 of them. How many did you see?
I saw all 3 of them. But you've scored me for life.
Which one was your favourite?
Which one's my favourite? It's not even a question you can apply to the medium. Honestly, they're all disgusting as each other. I mean, favourite wise, probably that one where they're on the ship and
the wedding ceremony.
Yeah, because it was like 8 seconds long. It was like, thank fuck for that. That's over with. But the weirdest one was the long one. I guess the flagship, the living room. What on earth was going on? I'm watching a cartoon of like an itchy and scratchy type thing, and then it's like, Tom and Jerry, and then like this thing gets captured, and then it's like, oh no, I've escaped. I'm here. Look, and I've got you in this like mincing machine, and oh no, shit, I'm dying again. And then next thing you know, we pan out into this like CGI living room scene of like a futuristic living room, I'm guessing, with this oval shaped TV. And there's this like fucking sausage man thing sat down with that proper Einstein fucking sideburns popping out of his head. Looks like Hey Hatchie off Tekken or something like that. And he's going, and he's like watching this cartoon with this. Has he got? Is it like a pet with him or
it's
a
like
kid?
A dog, isn't it? It's like a dog that's got like its eyes like go in with it, like kind of like in its mouth, aren't it?
Yeah, and then the fucking dog thing is like wanting to eat the snack on the TV.
He's like toying with him, isn't he?
Then eats the TV. But did you notice there was a toy on the floor in the living room? In that advert,
I remember seeing a toy in the living. I remember noticing something, but it's been a while since I've seen it, and you're gonna have to remind me. There was something in there. I do know what you're talking about.
You want to check the shape of that toy? It was a very interesting shape of toy. Yeah, that's for sure.
I think that was in the comment section as well. A lot of people were commented on that. The comment section of the YouTube video.
So it's not the type of toy that we find at Smith's, that's for sure. You know what I mean? You might find it in the old Ann Summers department.
The one with the surfboarders, like the ones like surfing, and then that was one licking like an advertising board.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, the one was in the living room. One was the one on the boat getting married, which I think might look like a surfboard or something. And then the other one was the 2 things licking the billboard. Honestly, fucking weird. Weird.
That sort of advert was played around children's TV programming.
Yeah, but I imagine that the product was probably for kids.
Yeah,
to
I'm
snack
just saying,
on.
like, with how messed up that advert is, though, it's kind of surprising how it was allowed to go on for so long.
It's one of them, innit? It's one of them, innit? Yeah. It's thin ice we're walking on at the moment. Maybe we'll walk on this thin ice again at some point. Maybe we'll fall in and have a right good plunge. But for now, that living room was looking rather futuristic, and I think that is going to lead us nicely into the next section, because we want to talk about the future of TV, because we never got to this in the last episode. So before we head to a break, we do need to do a good old quick burn carbs.
I almost forgot about this, I'm not going to lie. I was getting ready for a break, and then you bring this up on me. I was relaxing.
What do you mean you forgot about this? You're the inventor of this. This one's a good one. I wrote this down on my notes earlier. I thought, right, I'll get him here. Right, you've got 20 seconds to tell me everything you know about Delia Smith.
Delia Smith, celebrity chef. I mean, a lot of people know her for being the lady that walked on to the half-time of Norwich versus Manchester City going, "Where are you? Let's be having you," because she's probably had too much to drink. Big Norwich fan, Norwich corner, I believe. Don't know the specifics of it, but yeah, that's
done. It's not bad. For everyone else out there who's feeling a little, you've been sold short there by that quick burn carbs. Ironically, Delia Smith was famed for making good roast potatoes at Christmas. She was a celebrity chef in the 90s, weren't she? You know what I mean? She was all over the telly, sold loads of cookbooks. I wouldn't say maybe she was one of the pioneers, but then again, TV chefs have been around since like 60s, 70s. You know what I mean? If there's been a product to sell, there's been a chef selling it. But she was one of the, she was a household name and obviously made so much money that she became a Norwich fan. Anyway, we are going to go to the first break. This is the Salad and Carbs podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking a lot about Delia Smith. We were talking a lot about Luton. We were talking a lot about the feedback that we've had on the show, which has been all really great and positive. Please keep that coming. It's helping us shape the content, deliver the content, and you're a big part of that content because, let's face it, if there were no one listening to it, then it'd just be me and Carbs just having a chat on some fancy software. So you are a really, really crucial part of it. So thank you very much for that. Then we talked about the Munchters advert that Carbs had told me to go and watch, which were minging.
Which you now regret, isn't really.
Well, you know what I mean? I hope I don't start having nightmares about it. Otherwise, I'll be invoicing you for therapy. But speaking of TV, and we're in that world of TV or the future of TV, let's go backwards in time slightly because in the last episode, we were talking about TV we grew up with, and then we got into the realms of The Bill and Coronation Street and soaps, and we looked at Skins and a few other things. But what I'm really interested in covering right now is there was a difference between terrestrial TV and cable or Sky TV. So, if you were a terrestrial TV household, then yeah, you would be bound to the 5 channels if it were post 1997 when Channel 5 came into existence.
Good knowledge, by the way.
Yeah, well, I can always remember when Channel 5 came about because I'm sure it was near Princess Diana's funeral. Don't quote me on that, but you know what I mean. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments. But I'm sure it was 1997. So if you were in terrestrial house, you'd have the 5 channels. And then, your schedule or your TV habits would be shaped around, what was available on those channels. Whereas if you were in the cable or the Sky world, you probably had a little bit more freedom, or maybe the illusion of freedom was greater, potentially. What are your thoughts on that, Carbs? The difference between the two?
Yeah, I do resonate with what you're saying because although I grew up on cable, there were instances where my dad would say, right, saving up for a holiday, we're going to have to make a few cuts. One of those cuts is going to be, you're not going to get cable TV. You're going to cable or satellite TV. You're going to have to put up with the 5 channels. So I do know what it's like being relegated to Channel 3 Saturday morning TV because it was the best of the options that were given to us. But at first it was a little bit oh God, this is boring. We don't normally watch this. Anyone can watch this. We'd rather watch something that not everyone can watch. That's an aspect to it as well.
Peasant cartoons this morning. Where's my Nickelodeon gone?
Yeah, but also as well though, it did allow us to broaden our horizons a bit because I think you mentioned it before about Pokemon. Pokemon was on, was it SMTV Live, something like that. So is it on Ant and Dec? Yeah.
Cat Daily.
Yeah. Well, when we had to watch that rather than Nickelodeon, then we were then able to get into these other programs like Pokemon, for example, which then, which I'm glad I did get into Pokemon. It was a good part of my childhood. So there's that as well.
Bit of Recess.
I mean, I wasn't keen on Recess. I thought it was more of a Disney Channel cartoon, weren't it? Am I wrong with that? Making the time zones mixed up.
No. So a lot of these cartoons are owned by the big cartoon producers who tend to be American. And then what they'll do is they'll sell the rights to those to be sold to other channels. So they'll end up in other countries like UK, for example. Now, depending on how much is paid, I mean, it's just like the football rights now. The more you pay, the more immediate your coverage can be. But yeah, like you say, Disney sort of thing, but it ended up on our shores because at some point someone said, yeah, do you know what, we'd like to air that on such a program because we know so many kids will watch it. Yeah, it's interesting how you've had that. So you had the, oh, you know, we're making some cuts, so we're actually going to relegate you. Take that Nickelodeon away for a bit, Fox Kids and all that jazz, and we're just going to be on the channels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know, you'll be watching Hoobs on a Wednesday morning before school if you're up early enough. Okay, but what we're talking about here is that American content. So if you did have the Sky or the cable, you had more access to the Disney productions, perhaps. Was the Disney Channel a thing on Sky then? I can't remember.
Yeah, I definitely remember the Disney Channel being a thing. I don't think me and my brother ever watched it, but I definitely remember it being there. I remember Recess was on there, but I remember hearing a lot of people talking about Recess. We just never really came across it. I mean, whether it be on the Disney Channel or some other terrestrial channel. I like what you're saying before, though, about, like, you know, you get access to the American programs, because as mentioned in the last episode, a lot of the kids' programs I mentioned were made from America. Your Sabrina, Keenan and Kel, very, very Americanized, you know, like they're in like live studio audience and done the American way. But what's kind of come with Nickelodeon is what spoiled us a bit, whereas like Nickelodeon, you can watch what you want all day long. Whereas if you're only watching terrestrial TV, you can only watch what the time of the day kind of dictates to you. So there's a time in the morning where they know that children watch TV in the morning because they're up before they're adults, and like they put then the kids' TV on, but then get to a certain time where the adults might wake up and come downstairs and watch stuff. Well, you know, they don't want to watch kids' TV, so then they start to do more morning programs. But if you're a child, you've had your moment of the day to watch what you want to watch, because like the cartoons are done with, and you know that's just how it was with terrestrial TV. You either got to watch something that's not for you, you know, or just find something else to do, I guess. You know, that was kind of part of it. Whereas, anyway, more to the point I'm saying is, if you've got cable TV, you can watch exactly what you want all day long because the channel dedicated to what you want to see, so it spoils you.
Okay. No, well, earlier I said the illusion of choice.
Yes.
Does it make the illusion of choice greater?
Yeah.
So with terrestrial, you were bound to the schedule. So, you know, you needed the Radio Times. You needed the TV guide. Otherwise you got good at teletext and CFAX. And you needed to know what were on and when it was on, because then you could sort of think, oh, well, I'll go and play out for a bit from this hour to this hour if I'm allowed. And then when I come back, this will be on. Or if I set off at this time in the morning, I can watch this before I go. And hopefully I won't miss the bus and be late again. But when you had cable or Sky, like you're saying, you have greater choice. So if you want to watch Cartoon Network all day or Nickelodeon all day, you can do. However, like I said, it's just that illusion of choice is longer, because really, I mean, when we got Sky and I was watching Cartoon Network, you went to people's houses and you could watch Cartoon Network. Give me 2-3 hours watching cartoons, I'm bored out of my head. I need to go outside, I need to climb a tree, I need to kick a football, I need to knock on somebody's door and run away. Like, I need to do something that's stimulating, because this cow and chicken shit is just not doing it for me anymore.
Brain rot, really, innit? Brain rot back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I get you. You were spoiled because, but you'd still do the same thing on Sky. You'd think, right, at this time Dragon Ball Z's on, and then if I switch to this channel, such a thing is on, and then if I switch at this time, then this is on, and you'd find yourself doing the very same thing that you do on terrestrial TV. I want to move on from kids' TV. I want to move on to the more adult content, let's say. And I don't mean like, whoa, saucy. I just mean more. How do you even say this without it sounding obscene or rude? Just content for adults. So yeah. I've got on my list programs like Desperate Housewives, Gilmore Girls, The O.C., House, Prison Break, because I think if you had access to Sky, then your exposure to these programs may have come earlier than if you were on terrestrial TV. Now, I know that Desperate Housewives was a big thing for Channel 4 back in the day, because I think it was like Wednesday night at 9 p.m, 8 p.m, 9 p.m, 10 p.m, whenever the fuck it was. Desperate Housewives was a thing. Now, whether that was the current season, I'm not too sure about. I don't know whether we had like a 1 season delay based on what the American channel was putting out. Because we were still in the early days of things like Facebook and social media then as well. You know what I mean? You still had to send a pigeon across to America to like really find out what were going on in America, and then wait for it to come back. So you know what I mean? There still were those delays. The world wasn't as uber connected as it is now. Did you have any standout shows around that period? If we're thinking of that type of American show, maybe.
I mean, those shows that you listed then, I think the only one I've seen anything remotely to was House, but it's not really something I put on. I think I might have touched on this in a previous episode. There was a period of time where I didn't watch a lot of TV. I mainly like played games, and then like even when I wasn't playing a game, I'd be on YouTube looking at videos about games. Yeah, I'd say I might have to skip forward a little bit here, but I said the first program that I like proper got into, where I was like, I want to slam this season out, and and then when I've caught up, like I'm going to be watching it, staying up till like 2 a.m. to watch the American showing. That season, well, that program was called Supernatural, and I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it went on for 15 seasons, and there was like 20 to 23 episodes a season, depending on how we're going. There was one, I think season 3, they did like 16 because there was a writer's strike. But barring that, there was like at least 20. And it's basically about two brothers who were like hunters, but not hunters in your traditional sense, hunters who would hunt down like ghosts, demons, as the title suggests, supernatural things, werewolves, sometimes. But they didn't make it cheesy though. Like they made it so that like the monsters were living amongst other people, and then like they were kind of part of society. Like essentially, the monsters were just kind of like people, and they were like your vampire weren't like like your Dracula, for example. It didn't look like that. They just looked like people who, when they get their fangs out, you can tell they've got really long, sharp teeth. It wasn't like in your face, like cheesy monster sort of stuff, which was kind of good because it was meant for more adults. That was kind of the first program I watched. Have you heard about this at all?
No, I mean, it's just making me think of Twilight for some reason. You're talking about like vampires and stuff that aren't really like vampires, but are vampires.
That's the funny thing. I think Twilight came out after Supernatural. Supernatural's first season in 2005. I think because there was even an episode in it where there was like a montage where Dean's going around like killing monsters because I think like he had like a falling out with his brother or something, and then like it's like a montage of them both doing their own thing at the same time. And there's a bit where Dean chops the head off one of the vampires. He goes, "Eat it, Twilight!" And like there's all sorts of like pop culture references in it as well. So like he does like reference some of the stuff that's going on at the time. So and
Okay.
I think that was in season 3. I'm sure it was in season 3 where that happened. And yeah, they do like to keep relevant. Well, they did. It's not going anymore. They did like to keep relevant to what was going on. So
Okay. Well, Twilight, the first book was published in 2005.
well, yeah.
So nice bit of overlap there between the two forms of media.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were talking about binging, and you was like, oh, this is the first thing that I wanted to binge. So we're thinking about the box set here, aren't we? Really,
Mm-hmm.
because you mentioned House. Now, House was probably one of the ones that I did while I were at uni, and it was one of those programs that was on Sky, but I'd never entertained it. But then you go to CEX or you go to various secondhand shop, and you'd always have the box set in there. Because they were really popular. I mean, nowadays it's charity shop tackle, innit? You know what I mean? Whereas House, I got all of the box sets, and I literally watched every episode. And I think there were 168 episodes, which is far away from Supernatural because I was just doing some quick maths. And if you were saying there were like 20 to 23 episodes over 15 seasons, that's at least like 330, 340 episodes.
Yeah, I think they had a 300th episode special at some point as well.
That's some good going. But yeah, we're talking about the box set, and I mean the box set existed before DVDs. The box set existed with videos because I remember having South Park video box sets. You could buy season 1 or series 1. You could buy volume 1, 2, and 3, and they were in the box set, or 4, 5, and 6. The Pink Eye Halloween episode and the Mecha Streisand episode. Oh, honestly, South Park. We might do an episode just on South Park.
The Imagination episode, the one that was like 2-3 part or something like that.
Oh,
That
3
was
parts long. Yeah.
Probably.
See, I reckon that would have been a DVD one. That we're back on Volcano 2000 here, and Eric Cartman gets an anal probe. You know what I mean? The first episode.
Sets up the characters and setting up the theme, weren't it? And then it was like stop motion 2D paper, wasn't it?
Stop motion. Oh yes, it was a genius how they put it together, to be honest. But yeah, we will come back to South Park, I'm sure, at some point. The program for me that I really first got into binging. I've mentioned House, but the one that I didn't binge it until later on in life, and I'm talking like probably 8 years after it was released, but I just never got involved in the hype. But it was like one of them Game of Thrones type things. Like, you go to work, people are like, did you watch the latest episode? Oh my word, I can't believe what happened. I don't know why everyone at work is American now, because I was actually working in Salford at the time, so it'd be more like, yeah, right, mate, did you watch it last night? Yeah, mate, you know what? It was sick, weren't it, bro? Yeah, mate, what happened in that? Yeah, well, this happened in that, and I can't wait for next week. That's what it would have sounded more accurately like.
It was like that Peter Kay thing, weren't it? Where Peter Kay's like, whenever he does an impression of his mother, he puts an Irish accent on. He's like, you're not even Irish. Like, it's like he doesn't. He says like, why am I putting an Irish accent on? Like, it's like what you just did then with the American accent.
Everyone ends up American for me. But it was Breaking Bad, and I didn't watch Breaking Bad live while it was happening, whilst it was the sensation. But I did binge it when the opportunity arose. So we're sort of moving into a new habit here. We've got DVDs, we've got Blu-rays, we've got box sets. Do you remember a place called Blockbuster?
Yes, do I? Right, I loved it at Blockbuster.
We're going to do a quick burn carbs, and then we're going to go for a break. You have got 20 seconds to tell me everything you know about Blockbuster.
Okay, so Blockbuster was a VCR tape rental shop. You'd pick your film, you'd rent it, and then you'd have to return it by like the next day at a specific time. You could buy popcorn there, you could buy all sorts of snacks and things like that. Basically, it was about recreating the cinema experience in your own home.
1, excellent. This is the Salad and Carbs podcast. We are going to head to a break. We will see you when we come back. Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Before the break, we were talking about everything terrestrial TV versus Sky or cable TV. We were talking about programs like Gilmore Girls, like The OC, all those classics that I've never watched. But I put them on my list anyway, just in case Corbs has watched them. And then Corbs was telling us about Supernatural. And then we were talking about binging programs, box sets, videos, DVDs, Blu-rays. And then we did a quick burn carbs on Blockbuster, because Blockbuster was like the place for all things video, DVD, Blu-ray, you name it. If you were having a Friday night movie night, Saturday night movie night, Tuesday night movie night, and you weren't going to the cinema, Blockbuster was the place to be. Corbs, tell me about Blockbuster.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, there was one in the town centre of the town I grew up, and it was always, at the time when like rentals was more popular, technology wasn't as advanced and stuff. Sky Movies wasn't as readily available at the time. It was always busy. You could always go in there, even if you didn't want to rent anything, there were loads of snacks. There were just loads of great things to buy in there, like to have even just for a Saturday night. And like just the whole atmosphere, the theme behind it, it was very welcoming. There was just something about that place. And it is a shame that it stopped, because it just couldn't move with the times. It just seemed too stubborn and set in its ways with the model, and there's nothing wrong with the model. It needed to be modernized. That was the problem with it. But that's my experience of it. Going in there, what should we get? And you got all these options laid out for you, and then you look at the sections. Okay, do we fancy a horror today? All right, okay, let's go look at the horrors. We probably shouldn't be watching it because we're not old enough. But all right, then let's rent this, and then they sell it to you, and then you go back, and then you take your snacks back and everything like that, and you watch it, and it was almost like I mentioned this in the quick burn carbs. Like, it was almost like recreating the cinema experience. That was kind of what they were selling to you. They even had like a rip ticket as the logo with Blockbuster on it. And I know what they were doing with the marketing looking back now, but I liked it. I mean, what was your experience with it, Solid?
My experience was probably similar to yours, but I remember it being called something else before it was called Blockbuster. So it used to be called Ritz before it was called Blockbuster. Or maybe there was a place called Ritz that then Blockbuster moved into. I'm not too sure. But what you're saying, that the town, and I know this town as well. But there were two Blockbusters in the town. So there was one in the town centre, but there was one on Blackburn Road.
Right. Okay.
There was one on Blackburn Road, and I would say that
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, that one would have been my local Blockbuster. I mean, don't get me wrong, I went to the one in town a few times. And
it
it's
was
funny,
only across the road from a well-known fast food restaurant, so it was a great place for it to be.
Oh yes, absolutely. But the one on Blackburn Road, there were some famous takeaways near there as well. A Cantonese restaurant near there called. It is indeed the Kwang Ming. Very, very popular. Still popular to this day. I drive past sometimes on a Saturday night and I think, wow, they're still full. It's amazing. But yeah, Blockbuster. That would have been the one that I went to. But yeah, I'm sure it used to be called not the Ritz, but Ritz, and then it became Blockbuster. But spent many a Friday evening in there. So mum and dad would go down, and I think so. The classic days, mum and dad are going out, so you've got a babysitter or brother and sisters looking after you, or whoever's looking after you, family friend, whatever it is. But as a bargaining chip, they'll take you to Blockbuster and we'll let you get your favorite video. Right? Honestly, for a period of about 6 months, my mum and dad would take me to Blockbusters, and I would get the same Transformers cartoon every week.
No way.
Honestly, every week I'd just go, you're young, aren't you? You get fixated on things. It's like, I don't want to watch all this other shit. I just want Optimus Prime. I just want this one. Why didn't they just fucking buy me the video? You know what I mean? It would have cost them less money. Yeah, I'm sure the rental value of that one particular Transformers video probably went into the hundreds of pounds. It was obscene. But that was a time when we probably didn't know how to buy said Transformers video. You would have had to go to places like Manchester, Birmingham, London. Like, you probably would have had to get a video collector magazine, or something that would enable you to be in that shop window where those videos were on sale. And last week we were talking about Peter Kay DVDs, and how, they were like 14 quid. And videos were the same back then, because before DVDs, it was video, and, you had the VHS player. And they were of a similar price, and that's how that rental model worked. It was, you don't pay to own it, but you'll pay us a fraction of the fee, and you can borrow it for a bit. And it was great. And like you say, it was very welcoming. Like, I remember being a child in there, and the shelves seemed massive.
Yeah.
You'd have all your videos on the bottom row, and then they go all the way up to the top, and, I'd just stand there like, wow. And, you'd see all the same shit. You know what I mean? How many fucking times have I seen the cover of Hellraiser? Never really got round to watching it, but I know what it is because it used to be in Blockbuster. The same with like The Crow, or proper old, like is it 12 Monkeys? Like
12 Monkeys,
seven. And obviously over the years I have watched these films, but I can always remember those iconic film images from the cover of the video, or then it became DVD in Blockbuster. But like you said, it wasn't the only thing that they offered. Like, you're talking about things like snacks, and you've mentioned things like popcorn, but there were other things available as well, weren't
there?
Doritos, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Nachos, crisps in general, nuts.
And your tub of salsa as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I think they were like the types of places that were bringing these exotic American wares to the British consciousness, because now you can just go down to Tesco, you might get 3 for 3 on Club Card, you know what I mean, mix and match, get 2 bags and a salsa, and you're laughing. Over years I've seen so many rotten salsas, rotten sour creams, because people buy them, have about 5, leave them in fridge. 6 months later, we come and have a look at what's that at back at fridge?
Oh,
fuck's
yeah,
sake,
yeah.
Doritos cream's gone off. For fuck's sake. It happens. But the Blockbuster was one of those places that was bringing that American culture to us. And it was one of the first places that I'd come across Häagen-Dazs ice cream. Häagen-Dazs, if we want to call it that. So my first Häagen-Dazs
I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine. If we're gonna read it like that. But yes, the first Häagen-Dazs, and it's funny because people can't see the facial expression that I'm doing when I'm saying it. But anyone who knows me, you can imagine how it's going. So my Häagen-Dazs was amazing, but they did a Bailey's flavour of it.
Nice.
Other flavours I weren't that interested in, but that Bailey's one felt a bit taboo when I was young.
It sounds like something like, as a child, like, I shouldn't be eating that. I want to eat it.
Absolutely. And you know what? It was bloody good. And they actually did sell it in like supermarkets and stuff. And then they just like discontinued the flavour. It's like, what's going on? Like, what? I can't imagine that not being a popular line, but and there have been Bailey's ice cream since. Not a patch on the 90s Häagen-Dazs variety. In fact, that is the only way I'm going to pronounce those two words in future. I am so chuffed.
The reason that I pronounce it like that is because before I'd heard anyone ever say it, I'd heard it on an advert and it was said like that.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess. I mean, the words themselves. I wouldn't like to guess what country they're from. I actually know where the brand is from, and they're American. But that looks like something like Danish to me or something like that. But
I just thought they had take the actual words out of it, the language of it out of it. I always thought it had some sort of Indian theme to it.
Okay.
Like the theming of it of the packaging, it looked like it come from India perhaps, but I'm not saying it did. But that's just how it was stored in my mind.
Are you ready?
Go on.
Quick Wikipedia.
Quickie.
In 1959. He decided to form a new ice cream company with what he thought to be a Danish-sounding name.
Nice. Nice.
Oh. So it wasn't officially Danish. It was just Danish-sounding, which is what I thought as well. So I'll take that one.
I mean, it's surprising. I mean, it's almost as though that you started learning, a North European language, isn't it?
Well, we might get on to language exploits and all things. Finland.
I thought I'd just throw that in there as a point,
in another episode, we might have to talk about countries we visited, or absolutely. But yeah, Blockbuster was really, really good. It wasn't just the snacks and the films, but you could get games as well. So you could rent games, and the thing is, with I think you could rent for 2 days or 3 days, or you could rent for a week for a bit more money. Like the amount of times that my dad would get me in car on a Sunday night. We need to go to Blockbuster. What for? Are we getting a film? No, we need to take one back. Otherwise we'll get fined. It's like, oh, bloody hell. Got my pyjamas on. Off we go in car. There's me thinking, oh, Blockbuster, Sunday night. This never happens. Get some Häagen-Dazs and I'll be right tonight. And then all of a sudden we pull up. It's shut. It's like, what do you mean it's fucking shut? Dad just runs over to quick drop letterbox, chucks it in, boom, walks away, happy as Larry, boom, no fine for me. And off we go, and we go home empty-handed. But that was the thing with the rentals. You agree to pay a fee for this amount of time, and my word, did they get you if you didn't return those products on time. But I guess, if you were, if a popular film were coming out, I remember being in there and sometimes they'd have 20 copies of a certain film because it was so big and they knew that the demand would be there.
Yeah.
Imagine if you didn't get, there were times when you went in and asked for some, no, it's out. It's out at the moment. You'd have a look, wouldn't you? You'd be in there and they had to have the blank one behind the cover. You knew that if the blank one were behind it, you were in, you were on. It was like, yes, we've got it. Transformers is in. It's like, who the fuck's got Transformers? I've had that for fucking five months out at past 6. Like, what you on about? But yeah, sometimes you go in and those 20 versions of the latest and greatest, they'd all be flat against wall, and you'd know, nah, we're not in luck. But that's why they probably punish people who weren't bringing stuff back, because people would be coming in going, where's this film? Where, we want to fucking watch this film. Well, you can't watch this film because fucking my man Derek, he's not brought it back yet. So
was it brought back rewound though when you brought it back?
Never had this problem with DVDs, but yeah.
Yeah.
That is a classic, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
you get fined for it apparently.
Really?
I was too young to know, but I've been told that if you brought it back and it wasn't rewound back to the beginning, you could get fined for it. I mean, I don't know the logistics of it. I don't know if it was just a threat, but like the only way they would know is if they checked right there and then as you brought it back and they kept you there. I mean, how could they keep you there? But then, like, or if they'd remember who it was that took it, and then like kind of like, right, okay, next time, put them on this, like put them on this list. So if you see that name again, like when you sign for example, then like, okay, well, you didn't bring it back rewound this time. It's going to cost this much for this tape this time.
Wow,
the additional
you're
price. That's my theorizing. I don't know for certain, but there's definitely a thing about bringing them back on rewound. Definitely,
you've been blacklisted for not bringing your video back rewound.
Yeah,
can you imagine that job description for a Blockbuster general assistant? Cash handling, customer service, must be good at rewinding videos. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the reason that we've gone down this Blockbuster route is because Blockbuster sadly did close down, and during that time when they were starting to wind down, you could get some bargains in there, because all them copies of videos and DVDs and all that lot, they all ended up in the bargain bins, and you could pick them up for next to nothing, and sometimes games as well, because it was going to transition to a new model. And like you said earlier, maybe they didn't keep up with the times. I could certainly see Blockbuster, is CEX not just Blockbuster in a different format? And I mean, if Blockbuster had just adapted and taken those second-hand items on board, maybe, who knows? But what I want to talk about after this next break is how the rental service moved from the physical store to becoming a delivery service. This is the Salad and Carbs podcast, and we are going to go for a break. Welcome back to the Salad and Carbs podcast, the only place where you can get 2 of your 5 a day. Before the break, we were talking about everything Blockbuster, that wonderful, wonderful place with all those movies, the case behind the cover so that you knew that your video was in that week, Transformers video that we could have just bought and saved a lot of money, Haagen-Dazs, Doritos, salsa, sour cream, popcorn, games, missed deliveries because we haven't got it back in time, or we couldn't even be asked to rewind the video. Blockbuster did sort of come to the end of its tether, and then there was a bit of a gap in the market, and then all of a sudden this new service started appearing on advertisements. But it was funny because when I was just having a quick chat to Carbs pre-show, just running through some of the content, Carbs actually mentioned another one that I'd totally forgotten about. So what and what we're talking about here is that rental service that moved from the physical store to, I don't know, the warehouse, or Amazon, or something like that. What were you talking about, Carbs?
I was talking about a service called Love Film. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this service is still going, and if it is still going, is it still the same service it was? I haven't looked it up. I mean, I know you're going to look it up anyway, I can tell. But Love Film back then, it was essentially the similar sort of thing you got with Blockbuster, but they would deliver the films, games, media of any sort to your door. They had your address, and you had like a list of like a wish list, and then when you finished with a game or a DVD, you would then mail it back. And then as soon as they got their copy back, they would send another one out from your wish list. So it meant that like sometimes you would get something like a somewhat of a lucky dip based on how many things you had in your wish list, and then you then watch that, play that, whatever you want, whatever media you wanted it to be. And yeah, as you were saying, it it is kind of, it was a replacement for Blockbuster, so you didn't have to go and get it yourself. Like it was the simplicity and the convenience of it that they were honing in for with that.
Okay. Well, I have just done a quick read. You know what I'm like. They started in 2002, and to be honest, Blockbuster still would have
Still
been a
going.
thing then.
Yeah.
And they only went defunct in 2017, which is really surprising.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you actually as well, because I was thinking about the last time I went to Blockbuster, and it was probably when I was. The reason I went is because I was in a relationship with someone. This is like back in 2011. Now I remember going in and getting like a 2 for 3 deal on rentals, and we picked out these DVDs. I mean, definitely DVDs at the time, and it was like we're going to rent some DVDs to watch that night with some snacks. Yeah, and that relationship, I was with her in 2011. So that's the last time I went. Do you know when the last time you went might have been?
I remember, to be honest. I used to go to the one there was one in Blackburn. There was one near the ice rink. Well, more where TK Maxx is. I forget the name of the retail park off the top of my head. It's like a smaller one with Boots and
I know what you mean.
TK Maxx, but there was a little Blockbuster. I think it's a charity shop now, but there was a Blockbuster on there, and you could get loads. Like I remember buying like Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1, the 3-disc edition from there. Honestly, unbelievable. I can't remember the last time I went, but it seems that there's a little bit of overlap between the end of Blockbuster and then Love Film coming out. But it seems that Love Film was the pioneer. They had seen the future. They had seen that people would have wish lists, and people could have like maybe random content delivered out to them based on the things that they were already viewing or that they said that they liked. But then the monster that is Netflix arrived, like the huge monolith
Changed
coming
the
over the
scope entirely,
horizon.
didn't it? The viewing scope entirely.
Honestly, like Independence Day, like a massive UFO just coming over, like, hello, I'm Netflix. And it was just like, love film, probably, had a new rival on the scene. And I did do a little bit of research on Netflix earlier, and they launched in 2007. And similar to Love Film, they were offering you could rent films, DVDs, and they had 70,000 available to rent physical DVDs. But then they started offering an online streaming service, but you could only choose from 1,000 films. Now, Love Film apparently did this as well. They also did an online version, but I think that Netflix was, well, I mean, let's just look at time. Who passed the test of time? Well, Love Film no longer exists. Blockbuster no longer exists. But I tell you what, Netflix still exists. And that brings me on to, have you ever used Netflix?
Yeah, I have. I've never actually had an account for myself, but I've, may or may not have borrowed someone else's account.
So
and
you're a parasite, are
yeah.
you?
Well, the thing is with me is like whenever I've been on it trying to like look for something, I can spend more time looking for something to watch than actually watching things, and that's what I found frustrating about it. And I don't know if it's just a me problem, but I just never took to it like everyone else. And I'm just more than happy looking at things on YouTube than paying for a Netflix subscription. But don't get me wrong, though, there's some good stuff on there. I do like to watch Black Mirror. There's something that I wanted to mention earlier on, but never got around to it. Black Mirror, top-notch anthology series. You get around to it. I know we're going on a tangent a little bit here, but I do.
You do know there's a new season of Black Mirror out, right? So I'm going to warn you. Don't be giving anyone any spoilers if you've watched it.
I was already moving on. I'm not making that mistake again. Trust me. So it's good. It's when a new Black Mirror season does come out, it is good to borrow someone's account and do that. There's some good like horror thriller films on there. I'm a bit of a thriller fan, so it's good to watch some good ones on there. Like sometimes Netflix make their own. There's ones in there that are just you'd never heard of, and you read the synopsis for it. He's like, you know what, this has pulled me in. Let's give it a go. And you watch it, and you're like, what an absolute gem. And that's what Netflix is good for. It's those gems that you never knew existed. But with saying that, I still will not pay for a subscription. What's your experience with it? I'm interested to know how your interaction with Netflix is.
I have Netflix. I am not a parasite. I am actually the host. So I have my own account. But it's one of them. I think My partner has other streaming services. And the password sharing thing is always going to happen. So I might be a parasite on a different account. But the thing is with Netflix, they've really cracked down on the password sharing, and I think, to be fair, right, for
Sounds a
what
bit
it
petty, doesn't it?
costs, just, you know what I mean. Like, some people are in platonic or long distance relationships. Some people's partners live in a different country. Like, it's a side of the times, Netflix. You need to get real. And just because someone's IP address is in a different country than the person who owns the account isn't necessarily meaning it's always a hacker or something like that. This could just be two people who are having a relationship, across an ocean or across borders. But yeah, I do have Netflix, and like you say, there are some gems on there, and sometimes they acquire shows and or movies, and you can relive those classics. So I mentioned Breaking Bad earlier, and I think I was able to binge it, and in fact, me and my partner watched it again over Christmas. So I spent Christmas with my partner, and we just absolutely binged Breaking Bad. Literally, boom, all 5 seasons and El Camino, the movie, which was just incredible. Because I think sometimes you watch something and you might not be watching it, but when I watch stuff with my partner, we're well invested. You know what I mean? We're paying attention, and you see all those subtle things that are going on. In fact, we're halfway through Better Call Saul now, which is the other spin-off to Breaking Bad, because we sort of want to complete the circle. We want to, get up to speed, because apparently Vince Gilligan is working on another show that could be set in Albuquerque, that could be coming out. So it'd be nice to. But there's so much on Netflix, like you said, Black Mirror's come out. The next season of You is coming out. You know what I mean? All these programs to keep up with. In the last episode, we talked about cartoons, and on Netflix, they recently did a Dragon Ball series, Dragon Ball Daima, which I thought was pure genius. Because if you think, if I said to you Dragon Ball Z in 3 words, what would you say?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, just like cartoon, anime, kids program, maybe.
Oh, more. Yeah, that's very generic, safe answers. But if I was on about Dragon Ball Z in general, what images come to mind when you think of Dragon Ball Z?
Well, there's that kid with the orange suit on, black hair, and there's that. When I think of that program, I never actually watched it, but I used to hear the over 9,000 quoted a lot. Like, that must have been a big thing in the program. I'm presuming the 9,000.
Okay, so you're talking about power level.
Yeah.
So they have like a scanner over their eye and they can sense power levels. That is hilarious. So Dragon Ball Z for me is like macho muscles,
Okay,
power.
right. Okay.
Like veins popping out, like there's a lot of this shit going on. Yeah,
roided sort of vibes.
Don't know about roids, but there might have been some doping going on. I'm not too sure. Goku and Vegeta need a fucking rematch, boys. Fucking Vegeta were doping. But they had Dragon Ball Daima on Netflix, and do you know what? It was genius, because what they did. I am almost going to give spoilers away here, and I don't want to give spoilers away. But what they did is they used a very interesting device in this series that did something to the characters that made those characters appeal then to different audiences. So in Dragon Ball Daima, something has happened. That's all I'm going to say. Because some people may not have watched it yet who are Dragon Ball Z fans, and it is really, really good. I mean, it's been a few months now. Where is that spoiler cutoff? You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to play it safe. Something happens, but basically it opens Dragon Ball up to new audiences. And I only know this because me and my partner watched it, and my partner loved it. Like, she was buzzing off it. We watched it every week when the new episode came out. Honestly, it was great. And it was such a clever way, like I say, to tap into new demographics, and still be Dragon Ball Z, but maybe cleverly move away from a lot of that.
Sounds like it's evolving a bit. It's like just trying to change and just become something different rather than the same old stale thing. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was all the same characters and all that sort of stuff. But like I say, there's something particular that happens, and honestly, I was like, this is genius, and it really, really was. So we're on about Netflix, and I guess we're in that realm now of what does TV look like now? Is this the future of TV? Is this what it's going to be now? Streaming? We're talking about YouTube. Britbox, have you got a membership?
Oh, have I, Al?
I'm not paying fucking 20 quid a month to watch spitting image. Fuck me, I'll just get it on YouTube.
I kind of thought that, though, because like you're thinking about it, even the terrestrial channels now are going to streaming services.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
BritBox,
ITVX.
yeah.
TVX. If I'm trying to watch England play football, it's fucking hardest thing in the world. I can never remember my password.
Yeah.
And then when you get on, it's like, surely England would be on front page. It's like fucking Coronation Street omnibus. Are you mad?
You got
I
lots
don't
to
give a
trudge
fucking
through.
shit about Rover's return. I want to see what Miles Skelly's up to. Honestly, everything's going to that. Like a streaming platform, like you said, you go on Netflix, you wouldn't know what you were looking for. It's like, I don't give a shit about Love Island. I just want to watch Harry Kane bag. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only reason you'll find me on ITVX.
You sure you want to watch Harry Kane? I mean, I don't think you're his biggest fan.
We've been through this in episode 1.
I know.
I'm not his biggest fan, but you know, he's a good lad.
I'm just going to wind up. I'm just going to wind up because you mentioned Harry Kane of all people. I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that day at Wembley. Never forget it.
I'll happily take the bait. BBC iPlayer is exactly the same. I wanted to watch a bit of Match of the Day, and you'd think, what happened to TV Guide? What on earth? It's like the hardest thing in the world to find. It's like, just give me a list of BBC channels with times of the day, including now, would be most helpful, and then I can choose one. I'd like, no. You don't need a TV guide. Listen, we'll tell you what you're watching. You're watching these things because this is what we're promoting and this is what we're suggesting. Well, I don't give a fuck about this program. I don't give a fuck about sewing. You know what I mean? When I'm 70 and I'm going for knit and natter, fair enough. But right now, you know what I mean? I need my match at day fix. What the hell? But that's what you were saying with Netflix. I think sometimes the algorithm is pushing content in such weird ways. Yeah, fair enough. I might click on 10% of it and watch it, but the other 90% I don't really care about. And it's like, where the hell are they getting that data from to even suggest I like this shit? Or is it just content that's being promoted? Because I ain't going to be watching it, to be honest. I mean, there's probably about 5 programs I'll watch on BBC, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's some streaming services where they do look at like the data that you've given to them, like, how much have they watched of this? Okay, then they watched that and they watched that. What do they have in common? Okay, they're this genre or they have these elements in, and it's an AI and it's an algorithm and it puts it all together. There are some streaming services that do that, and then they put in front of you what they think you will like. There are other streaming services that may not do that as much. They might put something in front of you that they want you to see over anything else. Maybe it's just the highest buyer gets put at the front of the page. That's what it can be down to sometimes. When you, like, in the instance that you were explaining, like when you want to watch Match of the Day, it's like, how can I watch this fucking program? But maybe from the BBC's point of view, they might be thinking, okay, anyone that comes on to watch Match of the Day, they'll go on and get it. They don't need it put in front of them. But while it's not in front of them, we can put these in front of them so that when they finish watching Match of the Day, they could maybe go back to that they saw before because the seed's been planted. So there's a bit of that as well, in my opinion, of course.
Oh, you're welcome to your opinion. I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me as a user. Like, BBC, here's some feedback for you. Just put my options in front of me in a clearer way than it is now. Like, and I might consider watching some things. Like, as a person who frequently comes on to watch sport, maybe put some sport in front of me. You know what I mean? It's an idea.
Makes sense.
But seeing as we're talking about the BBC, and we are coming towards the end of the episode, I thought we'd talk about the TV license. What is your take on the TV license?
It's a funny one. There's many opinions to be had about this. So my take on it is that if you own a TV, you shouldn't be forced to have a TV license if you don't necessarily watch BBC things. But in a way, it kind of makes it so that you're paying for a subscription to watch the BBC, just like Netflix or Disney or Paramount, but you don't need to pay for those just for owning a TV or electronic device. So to me, it's kind of like they're brute forcing you to pay for their service. Also as well, you've got these veterans, these elderly people, and they have to pay for TV licensing, while you've got people like Gary Lineker who was on like loads of money, and like these people should be given TV for free for the service they've done for the country. These like retired people, some of them fought in the war that's still alive now. These people like why are they not just why is nothing given back to them like that? Just let them watch what they want. What's your opinion on the TV license?
Oh, what's my opinion on the TV license? What can I say and not get in trouble?
Yeah.
Right, TV license. I think it's a little bit outdated now.
Yeah,
there's obviously some relationship between the government of the UK and the British Broadcasting Corporation, because the BBC are the only TV entity in the UK who have a law in place that a user of a television set needs to have a license to be able to use that TV. How egotistical is that? Like, oh yes, we're the British Broadcasting Corporation. You can't use your television if you haven't paid the license. Yeah, well, listen, mate. Like, I'm fucking watching Corrie Street, innit? I don't give a shit about fucking Northwest Tonight. Well, I'm sorry, mate. We'll see you in court. And it's like, what the fuck is this? It's 2025. And and then people, right, honestly, it makes me laugh when people go, in China, right? And in China, they have a state television. They tell them what to watch. They have to watch it by law. I'm sorry. Is the BBC not exactly the same thing? It's like you have a government and a law and a license to watch said device. Like, if that's not state-sponsored television, I don't know what is. Like, by very definition. So anyone who comes out with this country, yeah, state television, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, mate, well, it's happening here in the UK. It's called the BBC. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got fucking people glued to your house, like Tom Cruise, fucking hanging upside down, trying to peek in through curtains, like, have you got a TV license? Have you got a TV license? Like, well, honestly, it is next level. I think it's very, very old, very outdated. I think in the world we live in, like,
it's moved on too far.
You know what I mean?
It's just moved on too far from it. Just no need.
You've got streaming services. You've got social media. Like, I mean, what is the BBC putting out there that I enjoy? I mean, Match of the Day is shite now anyway. Like, you know what I mean? It's all gone weird. In my opinion, maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe I'm just not the demographic that it's being aimed at anymore. Last BBC thing I thought were funny were People Just Do Nothing. Like, if you've not seen it, watch it. It is actually quite funny, and it's launched the careers of quite a few people. Apart from that, like, I don't really watch Match of the Day anymore. I certainly don't tune into the news or anything like that. So yeah, for me, that's where I'm at with the TV license.
Yeah, I think for me, the most usage of BBC that I have is listening to the radio. I do enjoy listening to the BBC radio channels. Channel singular. I listen to Radio 1, and it's mainly in the mornings as well. But yeah, you don't need a TV license for a radio though. So, yeah, I get it. The funding is probably coming from the TV license that the BBC receive, and they put it into the radio as well as the TV. But it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, if I'm listening to radio, should I be paying for a TV license? It's not. I just don't think it's dated. There's other options out there where you don't need. You don't even need to own a TV now to watch TV. You can like get a laptop out, get an iPad, anything. And is that where does the cutoff point? Is it a TV set that you need to own to have a TV license, or is it anything that you can view any amount of TV on? So.
Very interesting question. Have you ever tried accessing the BBC from outside of the UK?
I have never. No. Why would I? Why would I want to watch it? I don't want to watch it when I'm here.
Oh, see, now I'm a fiend now, and I'm hypocrite salad here. I like the BBC Sports app. That is probably the only place that I go to that is BBC. If you try and access BBC News or BBC Sport from outside of the UK, guess what you get?
Well, Probably a message to say you can't watch this, you're not in the right country.
That is one of the things that you get. But what else do you get when you're navigating those pages?
Adverts?
Adverts. You get adverts. So in the UK, we pay a license fee to be able to just have a device that we can, watch TV on. We might even just want to play on an Xbox or a PlayStation. You just don't know. But abroad, if you're accessing the BBC, you'll get adverts, and those adverts will be paid for by the people who want to put the adverts there. So it's not just the license fee where the BBC is getting revenue from. And I did do a study on this at college, actually. I did do a look into the TV license fee, how it was all broken down, where that money actually went. And it was all very interesting. We are coming to the end of this episode, and we're getting very heated on this TV license debate. So let us know. Do you enjoy us talking about the TV license? Do you think it's a load of tripe? Do you think it's good? Do you think we should pay a TV license like the good British people we are? What do you think? What have you thought about this episode? Let us know in the comments. Give us a rating. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. We do actually have a rating. Someone gave us a 5-star rating, and we are very grateful for that. If you think we're doing a good job, please let us know. If you think we're doing a shite job, please let us know that as well. It's been a wonderful exploration of many things this episode. I mean, we have had a few avenues. We've looked at Luton. We've looked at the Munsters advert. We sort of picked up on the adverts. Then we ended up going back into the world of TV and terrestrial TV versus Sky or cable. Then we got into like Blockbuster and DVDs and Blu-rays. Then we ended up on some Netflix via some Haagen-Dazs. And then we ended up talking about, sharing accounts. What does TV look like now? We talked about the BBC. We talked about the TV license. And I think that is leading us nicely because we've sort of we've talked about DVDs, we've talked about videos and Blu-rays, but we haven't actually talked about films. So I think in the next episode, let's get our teeth into some films. Corbs, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, there's, I keep saying it over and over again, like, thanks for the, for people listening, dedicating an hour to 2 hours of your time. I'd like to know what people's opinions are of that. Do you want us to deep further into those sort of topics and conversations? Do you prefer it to be a bit more fun? Maybe you like a balance of the both, because we do have a laugh on here as well. Do you like more grounded topics like sport, less political song? Because we're getting a little bit political there with the TV license thing. If that's what you want more of, though, just tell us. Everyone, let us know what you want. I'm interested to see what you think. All types of feedback, positive and negative. Isn't that right, Salad?
It is indeed. I mean, if you think that's political, bloody hell, you're in for a shock if we ever get political. Blimey, that was scratching the surface. That, and like I said in one of the episodes, this is the Salad and Cars podcast. We are not afraid of topics. We're here to explore things, and I'll say this from the outset. I don't have an opinion. I just want to look at the information out there because that's the only way I can make the best decision that I can at the time when I might need to make a decision. I ain't here to say things are right or wrong, and I never will be. But what I'm not afraid to do is explore, because I think that is the only way we find things out. That's the only way we grow and develop. And sometimes that might mean we have to have a shitty conversation, or we have to explore something that doesn't make us feel comfortable. But I tell you what, when you come out the other side, you're a better person for it. You know what doesn't kill you makes you stronger is the old adage. And I know that, between me and Corbs, the whole premise of us doing this podcast was based on some of the chats that we have in the car. Because we play sport quite often, which we won't be playing sport for a while because I've damaged my ankle somewhat.
A little bit of a setback on that regard, really, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm going to be out of action for a few months, so there might be a few more podcasts. But the whole point of this podcast was, we had interesting chats in the car, and we thought, how can we capture these? How can we bring these to life?
Or people going to be interested in it, aren't it? That was it as well.
Are people going to be interested in it? And like I say, we're happy to cover anything. This podcast has been categorized as a comedy podcast first and foremost, because really for me, it is all about the laughs. You can have fun while exploring the weird and wonderful, the fun, the interesting, the not so interesting. And it will always be a comedy podcast for me. So yes, like Corbs has said, let us know. Was that TV license stuff a bit too heavy? If it was, you're going to be in for a shock in season 2 when things get a lot heavier here on the Salad and Carbs podcast. But we will be talking about movies next time. Corbs is laughing his head off.
Trying to keep it in.
And he's pointing his pen at me like he's Lionel Messi or something. But yeah, exactly. Let's wrap it up. As next time we're going to talk about movies. Get the popcorn ready. We'll see you then. Sayonara.
Goodbye.